Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an exciting and everything amazing Propagandacast with me, your host and Pearl Dane, the one and only Master Propaganda of here to 1v1 own road to Tunis in the West Stands. Jibber, finding here for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Here with the 10th Panzerdivision assisted by the Fallschirmbrigade Ranke, straight to Luftwaffe with double pioneers and Fallschirmpioniere. In these stands, Havoc. Finding here for the British Commonwealth, the Empire. Taking on the role here of the 1st Infantry Division. We got straight here, no battle groups chosen for him. We got double sappers though into a fast dingo, a bold and aggressive choice though. Definitely not something you typically see from a lot of British players, but Havoc is clearly not a lot of British players. In the south here, Fallschirm Pioneers converging there. Up north here, Pioneers going for the fuel point. Guess there's a bit of a slight misclick there. Infantry company up there for Jibber. Sappers rapidly advancing northwards here as well. Dingo out here for Havoc. Likely going to be used to be tossed straight into Jibber Translator in its early game, utilizing its fairly robust frontal armor there against small arms fire to just rip through Jibber's infantry and put as much pressure on them as possible. So this is a fairly aggressive and disruptive opening we're seeing here from Havoc. South side here, Pioneers again, Fallschirm Pioneer advancing there. Dingo's just rushing in. Catching the Pioneers by the southern fuel point. Havoc there is on the loose. Causing, well, havoc. Pioneers there ripping through them while he's trying to deal with it. Heavy cover though does provide some assistance here. Without the heavy cover, the Pioneers would absolutely been forced to retreat, even though they're in a bit of a tough spot. He could try and get the Fallschirm Pioneer up behind it, but clearly Jibber's figuring that it's not necessary. Up north here, Sappers busy section right there for Havoc. No, the Dingo was actually a conversion of the Daimler armored car, basically removing the turret there to create this more lighter version of it. Fun fact. Almost got the Dingo with the Fallschirm Pioneer here. Havoc may have pushed his luck too far here, which would be a great kill for Jibber, of course, in the early game. Get rid of this 250 manpower light scout car here, and he almost has it too. He does like to kill one of the Fallschirm Pioneers, so that's a bit rubbish there for Jibber. Though clearly not entirely rubbish either. Got him in G4 to range support Jibber though, and his frontline torping here versus Havoc. Section there, holding up behind an old Italian truck there, is quickly found himself under... Was it a British one actually? Might be British. Anyways, all the way, coming under heavy fire here. Section will need to withdraw soon here before they get turned into shreds there. Dingo being fixed up rapidly. Of course, one advantage of the Dingo, besides being relatively bulletproof, it's not got a lot of health in the sense they can be rapidly repaired by sappers, though of course it still has some amount of health. Pioneers crossing northwards here. Second MU42 for Jibber, so we got double MU42s, Fallschirm Pioneer, double Pioneers here. Clearly not an infantry opening here versus Havoc, and there go 2 MU42s, could be ripping through the Dingo in a matter of moments. But no, Dingo does manage to escape. His second MU42 does not rip through the Dingo as well there, like a angry college professor going through excuses. And Sappers flying around the MU42 here though. Havoc there striking in hard and violently. Second section out there. Things are going rather awkwardly for both sides. They're both looking to hit hard here. In the end though, Jibber's MU42s are proven to be an insurmountable obstacle for, well, Havoc's infantry. They just can't push through that many bullets here. Almost looks like it's going to get a wipe here on Jibber's Pioneers in the early game. That's going to hurt there. Jibber a bit, and down he goes. A small wipe there to the 10th Panzer Division. 3rd, well, maybe 5th Panzergrenadier Company. And we got more sections out here. Platoon command post out for Havoc. Could be seeing here a fast Humber out there to further that pressure. Jibber, of course, with Luftwaffe, he can, of course, airdrop an LG-40. Though back at Jibber's base, we got the Luftwaffe Company. Meanwhile, Dingo racing after the M42 up north here, follow up with Sappers. That's going to have to retreat here for Jibber unless he wants to give Havoc a nice MG42, which would be a bit odd for Jibber to do here, honestly. No battle group jet chosen here though for Havoc. Clearly a bit hesitant. Oh, White Fossils rounds here, hoping to open up the Dingo, but it is too late to activate. The Dingo has already bypassed the MG42, forcing Jibber to withdraw here. Medics on the way in there. Jaegers on the way for Jibber. Suppose if he's going for Humber here, he could go for Panzer 6 on his Jaegers to counter that instead. Certainly one way to counter British light vehicles, of course, with Jaegers with the Raketen and Panzerbuchse. Sabbath there, routing the Pioneers here. First Jaeger squad out here for Jibber, going for the G33. Jaegers, for those wondering, were basically sort of an elite infantry and meant for rougher terrain, sort of shall say hills, marches, that sort of thing there. Were generally like smaller compared to regular infantry divisions. On the other hand, they may also have been more equipped heavily with assault weapons like MP40s actually compared to regular army divisions. Well, they also had more artillery. There's a few fun facts about the Jaeger. Flares off here from Jibber, of course, make sure that's running to any surprises. Scope G for the face gives an advantage against the Units Navy cover. Up north, aiming for the Falchion Pioneer, they're engaging Havoc's northern front, and we do get the Humber out here, so Jibber will need Panzerschrecks. And of course, he may regret not going for them. We've got the smoke off here, though, from the Jaegers. Thumbs up. Humber, though, moving in here. Jibber's Jaegers are about to become the hunted, rather than the hunted. And there you go, dashing in there with the Humber popping into their building. Cut pop white phosphorus round. Hopefully, they dash them to the Humber that way. For now, the troops are surrounded by the Predator that is the Humber armoured car. Mortars here for Havoc, and we actually pop over to Jibber. Second Jaeger swarm over for Jibber. And there you go, flamethrower team. Well, there you go, hold up with info 2. They're quickly being suppressed, routed, suffering a loss. There's Lewis drops dead. Second Jaeger squad ready here for Jibber, and the 10th Panzer Battalion. He's got. Oh, yeah, it's about to say going for another scope G for the upgrade is a bit strange, but yeah, he does go for the Panzerschreck, which they didn't really have in time for fighting in North Africa. Basically, they reversed engineers the Panzerschreck from the American bazooka they captured in North Africa and Tunisia specifically, and it only got into service by late 1943, at which time the whole fighting in North Africa was over for the German army. So, little note there. Also, early Panzerschrecks would not have the little shield you see there on the Panzerschreck. They in fact had to equip the operators with gas masks and gloves, because otherwise the Panzerschreck would actually harm them due to the exhaust gases. When the Jaegers in trouble, the flamethrowers they need to be rapidly evacuated. The Jaegers pushing northwards with Raketen and Panzerbuchse. Meanwhile, Falchion Pioneer north have engaged for the Humber. I suspect Jibber here to an extent using them as bait, because if we can draw the Humber up here, it's going to be difficult to like easily escape if the Panzerschreck team sets up position here. So it's a bit risky for Jibber, but sort of can work out. Still got the Humber or Dingo on the way there. We do get a third Jaeger squad here, and there you go. Humber's getting spotted here. No, Panzerschreck does not go off in the center. Dingo engaging MD42. South side segmenting from 40 for Jibber and the 10th Panzer Division. Jaegers there spotted by the red key section. Third Jaeger squad almost down here for Jibber. And we got then the Dingo being hammered by the M42, but it's being forced away here. Third Jaeger squad here for Jibber. Will it be Panzerschrecks? Will it be more reconnaissance packages? It is more reconnaissance. Bit rare there. Most Valorant players, if they go for Jaegers, will typically go heavy on the Panzerschrecks and just kind of ignore the reconnaissance packages. But Jibber clearly believes in the reconnaissance package and the scope key for the fees, and of course, just getting access to flares. Bit surprised that we're not seeing more, but then again, he may go for more. Saps that easy target for the Jaegers out in the open. Far south, the MD42 there. Pursued by the Humber, and of course, they've got Havoc's mortars. Well, they're causing, well, havoc. Now he does cancel the scope package there for more Panzerschrecks. All victory points now under control of the 1st Infantry Division of the British Empire. And we got Indian Artillery out for Havoc with Gurkhas on the way. Some elite Nepalese infantry with which to give Jibber an extra tough time there. Likely expecting Bren guns on them. Second Panzerschreck team here ready for Jibber in a moment. Sappers routed. Panzerschreck on the Humber. Punching straight through there with its 88mm rocket. Almost taking out the Humber in a single shot.
The enemy have taken our territory.
Should certainly not take the Panzerschreck there. Lightly, of course, up north here, Falchion Pioneer up, backed up the Info 2 here. Further north there, Recce section about to be assailed by another 2 Jaeger squads. Interesting if you haven't seen the LD40, so that does beg the question, is he actually planning to go for the Luftwaffe Combat Group, or is he planning strafing runs into the Falchion Jaegers? Mortified there in the building, quickly forcing the Jaegers out as poor Heinz that just dies as a massive chunk of rubble falls down on his head. Falchion Pioneer business season points alongside the Jaegers. Hard northern push here from Jibber against the position of the British, and there you go. Got the Gurkhas with a Bren gun on top of the Lee Enfield rifles here. MD42 the catch on the Gurkhas. And we got a smoke screen there on the building itself, meaning even if Havoc occupies it, the smoke means he can't use it efficiently against Jibber's position. So thumbs up there. Fairly tactically adroit usage of the smoke. Far south, the Pioneer, the remaining Pioneer squad probing about here. Still not much there from Jibber. Part of me is definitely thinking he could be planning a Luftwaffe combat group here for both a 4th Jaeger squad, which of course mean a lot more infantry, but also the Wirbelwind here versus Havoc. Haven't seen the Luftwaffe combat group in a while there, to be honest. We'll have to see what it exactly is here Jibber ends up doing. But he can go for it. He's going to probably do it now. He's got the 4 command points, and he more or less has the resources there. He just needs a bit more manpower. Fighting Pioneer is the section. Humber disengaging. We got the Gurkhas there being just bombarded there, but aiming for 2 Jaegers pushing in from the north here. Looks like, yeah. Now we're going to look at the Luftwaffe combat group here from Jibber. Or not. Smoking again. Note the way that Jibber just uses smoke at times, like just negate his opponent's like heavy cover position. Like, sure, he won't necessarily directly deal with him, but if they can't shoot at him, I mean, that's good enough in some cases to allow Jibber to get to better positions. There you go. Pushing forwards here. Thumbs up to Jibber. Meanwhile, we do finally have the Luftwaffe combat group here. Wirbelwind flak panzers out there, backed up by more Jaegers. That pushes them up to 4 infantry squads, 2 machine guns, the Falchion Pioneer, which is another infantry squad for all intents and purposes, and now the Wirbelwind. Quite the shift up here. Meanwhile, more Gurkhas out there for Havoc, and we got the company command post going up here. Things are heating up. Meanwhile, on the south here, Wirbelwind running through here, forcing the Sappers to withdraw here aggressively. The German army operated a variety of flak panzers. The very first one was in the Flak Panzer 1, which was based off the Panzer 1 and mounted at Tunis on a flak. Also had the Flak Panzer 38 Tika Pad, based off the same chassis as the Marder 3. The Panzer 38 that is. T. Was also equipped with the Chisholm gun. The Flak Panzer 4 Wirbelwind was run at the very late models of Flak Panzers alongside the Ostwind and the Möbelwagen. North here, Gurkhas pushing in there, so now we can see that Havoc returning in form as well. There were a lot of infantry and crucially a lot of, Gurkhas with like machine gun. Will be quite a pickle here for Jibber's Jaegers to really take on themselves, so things are certainly heating up here. One thing worth noting here, I think, is Jibber should definitely consider the Luftwaffe officer quarters. I mean, he was going for that many Jaegers, plus a Wirbelwind. Getting the officer quarters up there for fast veterans run for these units would be exceptionally good, plus, of course, faster experience gain. As for Havoc, could be Crusaders. That said, if you're up against a player with a lot of Panzerschrecks, my advice would also be to go for the Matilda 2, as it is both good as infantry, but also fairly tough to crack for Panzerschreck teams due to its high armor and high health. North here, Wirbelwind going for the Recce section here. They are definitely forced to withdraw there. Shoot, Otto, shoot! But this is meant for shooting at aircraft. Jans, these guys are less armored than that. This is gonna be like shooting ducks in a barrel. Who shoots ducks in a barrel? No more questions. South here, Humber spotting the Jaeger squad there. It is worth noting that we haven't seen any Fallschirmjägers here for Jibber as of yet. Hitting the carve point here, a lot of Jaegers there lining up, backed up by a Wirbelwind flak panzer. And I do believe, yes, we are getting the Matilda 2 here for Havoc. Again, solid choice versus all these Panzerschreck wielding Jaegers. Not bad against the Wirbelwind either. Of course, if Jibber were to go for bigger tanks, the Matilda 2 may run into some issues. Particularly since he doesn't have any anti-tank weapons. But there you go. Matilda 2 infantry tank up. There's wondering, what about the Matilda 1? Well, that one was terrible. It was basically like, really, really slow, somewhat armored, but only had a machine gun. It was not good. Smoke on the car upon there. Jibber is just parking the exit of the smoke screen just to do like mess here with Havoc's fuel income. Being on the south here, Matilda rolling to the field here. Panzerschreck punches through again. Does some damage, but with the sheer amount of health the Matilda has, it doesn't really matter too much. And the Matilda just performs fairly well as an infantry with its 2-pounder gun. We could see wipe here. No, Jibber has enough luck here to escape with the Jaegers. Close call though. Very close call. Up here, troops have been pinned down with info 2, Jibber and the 10th Panzer Unit maintaining good map control, though Havoc does has an excellent victory point lead over Jibber. Recce section then told with the Wirbelwind, closing the veteran on that flak panzer. Still no sign on the opposite quarters here for Jibber, which is, I think, a small blessing there for Havoc, since again, it would always mean these Jaegers and Wirbelwind becomes much more potent, much faster, which would be a significant headache here for Havoc. Pushing through the smoke screens here. So much smoke, though. Thumbs up. Humber pushing through here. Flanking the Jaegers with their scope key for the fees. We got the MD42 flanked here by the Gurkhas, but the Gurkhas themselves getting flanked by another MD42. Another Wirbelwind. Rolling up here behind the side of the Gurkhas with its 4 20mm autocannons, ripping through the Gurkhas, falls into better cover. Matilda fixed up again. We'll have to see who goes for next, but I would not be surprised if it ends up being more Matilda 2s. So that we just get more, you know, large, durable things. Up to the building, we got the Wirbelwind Rush just shattering here the walls, crumbling them steadily. In the south here, Matilda moving to support an infantry assault here against Jibber's positions here of the 10th Panzerdivision. 4th Panzergrenadier Company, 5th Panzergrenadier Company here. Jaegers being assailed though. Gurkhas suppressed by info 2 there. Pinned down though, they cannot throw the smoke or the grenades to chuck out the Jaegers there. We got MG15 there on the Falchion Pioneer. And the Jaegers they're pushing forwards here. Matilda there forced withdrawal here. Failed to penetrate. That said, against an actual Matilda 2, the penetrates definitely would have penetrated every time. Mines as well for Jibber, very good though. Building though is steadily crumbling here. The walls definitely not made for, you know, warfare of that caliber here. 6-pounder guns here flying out for Havoc. We got flares there being popped to make Jibber's infantry even better targeted with the Gurkhas. The Matilda and of course the Humber. Some pretty fierce fighting in the south. Havoc there looking to outflank Jibber. We're popping back to Jibber. Falchion Pioneer here with MG15. We got Veterans 1 here. Has he gone for the officer quarters? He is not. He has instead prioritized the Panzer Company, and while I do understand that, again, with 4 Jaeger squads and a Wirbelwind, like this would be such an amazing upgrade to have. But oh well, I digress. Guessing a Panther Force soon, of course he could also add in some Starsturm. Infantry reserves to make reinforcements cheaper. I mean, that is obviously a pretty good idea there. It is an excellent ability. It's also one of the reasons why I see so much Indian artillery from the British, because again, that equivalent of that, of course, is also really good. Fix up the Matildas. Building their hard at work here against the Recce section. Far up north, the Humber looking into strafes a few Jaegers as they're proving about there. Good infantry play here from Jibber. Going for a 5th Jaeger squad. Yeah, now part of me would really like to see some Starstorm though, sort of mixed in with all this. But then Jibber is, I think, a much better player than me, so what do I know? But at least that'll be my comment there. Another Jaeger squad, that's another Panzerschreck. Of course, that could explain why he's going for more Jaegers. He wants more Panzerschrecks than the Starstorm. While they do have many things, they do lack Panzerschrecks. I imagine much to the relief of allied players everywhere. That said, of course, if Havoc's going to keep churning out Matilda 2s, there's obviously the argument there's going to be limits to how much, you know, worth Jibber's going to have in all these Jaegers with the Panzerschreck, because again, the Matilda 2s are quite good versus Jaeger Shrek spam, in my opinion. Good because they're caught by the Wirbelwind. Again, it also then begs the question why he is going for the officer quarters, because, you know, 5 Jaeger squads would very greatly benefit from this. Almost got Matilda 2 here, may want to deploy smoke screen. Try and cover the tree tiers, otherwise the Jaegers are going to knock it out here. Looks like he got a bit lucky there. Close call there for Havoc versus Jibber. Choose pinned down here. Wirbelwind there holding up. Jaegers almost right there with the Humber, which Havoc continues to extract a lot of great value out of here against Jibber and the Germans. Far south, the Jaegers catching a same flamethrower team here. And far up north as well there, Havoc proving forward with his Recce sections. In fact, I think all of his sections are Recce sections. That's obviously a very solid upgrade, but certainly a bit noteworthy here. Back at base. Still no sign of additional armor here for Havoc. The manpower being, I suspect, is a bit intense here for them. Far south, the sappers do come the Jaegers with their Panzerschreck. Certainly no match for flamethrowers and Sten guns at those ranges. Quick use of smoke here by Havoc. I mean, both sides have been making pretty good use of smoke here, so thumbs up to that. Always nice to see some solid smoke screen action. Jibber orders another infantry assault on the center here, force away the British defenders as they are way too extended here, and thus unable to resist the might of Deutschland. Humber there striking in And we got the Matilda 2 being repaired. Still some additional armor here for Havoc. The manpower bleeding remains a continuous issue that is very much bottlenecking his ability, I think, to bring in more tanks here versus Jibber. Which at the same time compounds the issue because he does need those tanks, I think, to help draw away fire from the infantry. Further up north here, Falchion Pioneer digging in with sandbags as in work here. Jibber rolling forwards. Jibber, meanwhile, is not suffering for any manpower shortages. In fact, he can go for the Panzer IV now. Could also technically go for the Sturmpanzer, but yeah, he does go for the Panzerkampfwagen 4. Matilda 2 is almost fixed up. Far south here, we got the sappers still sneaking about there in the center. That building is about to collapse there with those Jaegers in it. Like a good shot here from Havoc's anti-tank gun on Matilda 2. Also, artillery could easily collapse this. And there it goes, almost got it. Full wipe there on Jibber. Great kill there for Havoc. I mean, getting rid of an entire Jaeger squad like that is just amazing for him. South here, the smaller counterattack here being launched. Jibber been supporting Jaegers and an MD42 team as Jibber looks to quickly restore order to the southern part of the front line here. Jibber racing forwards. Further north here. Another push here forced by Havoc, though no smoke from his mortars. Would have been a nice beneficial thing for him. We got a flare shot from Jibber to get an idea of what Havoc is up to. Matilda 2 on the way here. Still an additional son of armor. Havoc there. Small Humbers about to get going again. Panther arriving here, and we got more Jaegers for Jibber. Still no son of Starstorm or Falchion Jaegers. He clearly wants to make this Jaeger heavy build work, and I mean, that's totally fair. It's only been a while since we've seen that after, you know, they nerfed the Panzerschreck Jaegers just kinda, I wouldn't say entirely fell off the radar. There's definitely players who use them, but they certainly are playing second fiddle to the Panzergrenadier now, despite having a lot more utility compared to the Panzergrenadiers, who certainly though pack a lot more punch. Well, that's that. South side here, Jaeger's hitting a mine here. Matilda's pushing for all the smoke here. A lot of smoke here, which in this case actually slightly backfires on Jibber since it's him that actually deployed all the smoke here. Matilda could push through it. Another wave of troops moving forwards. Mortar firing down. Definitely got airburst shells here. Back to Havoc. Jaegers the spot out in the open. A grenade assault here able to catch Jibber's Jaegers, but it completely whiffed here. Panther getting hit by the 6-pounder gun. Jibber rolling forwards, and we got just more Jaegers, and still no officer quarters here for Jibber, despite having 5 Jaeger squads, and still the Jibber win. I feel like this is a bit of a egregious oversight. Like, I would definitely say if you're going to go for that many Jaegers, and if you're going to do anything else from that building, you absolutely 100% want the Luftwaffe quarters, I think, for the best value. But anyways, south side here, Humber with sapper support there, causing a bit of havoc here for Jibber's southern positions. Jaegers in the center there being pummeled into oblivion. 10th Panzer Division there slightly struggling. And, I mean, he's got plenty of fuel, but manpower continues to remain a problem. They can now finally go for second Matilda. I certainly would recommend a second Matilda. Another lineup here of Jaegers being pushed forwards. North here, Falchion Pioneer spotted by the Matilda 2. Veterans will achieve then the British infantry tank. Those wondering what an infantry tank is, was basically part of the British tank doctrine, which was developed around World War I experiences, and basically they were meant to like support the infantry, like push through no man's land, blasting through enemy positions and whatnot. They were not designed for fighting enemy tanks, so speed was less important. Little fun fact. Anyways, good accursed section pushing forward here again, but Ryan's a lot of Jaegers see a lot of G for the feast, and of course we still got the Vigilant now popping its Veterans 1 ability here, making short work with the Gurkhas alongside the MG42. Matilda falling back in. I think we finally got another tank here, and it is in fact another Matilda. Sensible choice, really. As again, if you're up against, you know, Panzerschrecks en masse as the Brits, you absolutely want a lot of Matildas in my experience. Of course, one option Jibber could then commit to besides Panzer IVs, actually upgrading the Luftwaffe company to unlock the Marders. And things are spotted by the Jaegers, Vigilant force back here, close to FG2. Hunting down the 6-pounder gun, the Jaegers are on the hunt. And there goes second Matilda. And Air Force will draw the Jaegers, not Panzer Jaegers. What if we were, Ludwig? What if we were Panzerjägers? Then we would have Panzerschrecks. Dummkopf. Still a flank around, he calls a bit of effect. There we go, artillery strike called in again here by Havoc to further undermine Jibber's positions here on the west side of the map. With 2 Matildas out, things do get a bit tough here for Jibber. Big 2 points wise. Havoc still has a lead, but it's not quite as heavy as it used to be. Machine gun being pummeled by the Matilda 2 and its 2-pounder gun. And White. Good kill there. Let's set Jibber's quick recruit here with his Jaegers. Well, that is forced withdraw here. Meanwhile, another wave of Jaegers here being rushed forward here to try and take out the Matilda. Though again, attacking head-on a Matilda with infantry is typically pretty risky. 6-pounder guns lining up to form a line of defense here behind the anti-tank. And there you go, we got the Luftwaffe called in here. Strafing in there from above. The Kanonenvogel goes in. Oh, Kanonenvogel active thing anyways. Until they're taking a lot of damage here. Panther 4 gets off a nice shot. Jaegers keep pushing forwards here. Brutal push here from Jibber and the German army. Havoc is being forced back here. Another strafe here. Not sure what's up with that. Assault continues. Rapidly. Matilda went down. Don't know what that was about. Oh, where the Matilda's down here. Good kill there for Jibber. Removes a significant threat to Jaegers. Guess there's some kind of slight issue there with the Lloyd and the Matilda, perhaps, was looking at it. Oh well. Anyway, explosion again be deployed by Jibber. First time I experienced that kind of issue. Anyways, Jaegers roaming about here, taking a minor loss. We'll have to see what happens next here for Jibber and the German army. Let's pull to his line of the map here, his perspective. People in Barbate Betchy 2. Oh, he did finally go for the officer quarters. Finally. I mean, better late than never, though. I would certainly argue it would benefit a lot from it sooner. Gurkha's section of catching the Falchion PNM with MD-15. Quick to force and withdraw. Panther returning the favour here. Matilda 2 rushing southwards. So right now, Havoc definitely has a bit of an issue with the loss of the Matilda 2 here. This definitely means now Jibber can actually be a lot more of an armoured advantage with more Panther 4s, for example, which could be a significant headache here for Havoc. So Havoc is clearly no quitter. He keeps up the attacks on the centre, though unfortunately does mean he's pushing his men straight into line of fire of multiple MD-42s. So the assaults are, of course, as predictable as they are gruesome. And we got another Matilda out here for Havoc. Mine goes off in the Jaegers. Could have been worse, actually. Only one squad cut caught in the blast in the south here. Wirbelwehr in the edges, forcing away those wreckage section chaps. But there goes 6-pounder gun to the rescue. Jaegers engaging the mortar here close to the zone base. Second Matilda 2, they're rolling forwards. And there you go. Got the Ayogukali ability there activated on the Gurkhas. Samsung to assist in the south. Matilda they're pushing back the Germans there by the southern position. Jibber though has quickly set up a strong line of defense here around the center. Though it would probably help if that line of defense was behind cover and less so out in the open. And his Jaegers there ultimately, because of that lack of cover, also withdraw here in the face of a spirited assault over Havoc. His Gurkhas though clearly taking most of the casualties as they break Jibber's Jaeger line there. Matilda hitting her mine. Jibber's mining is definitely paying off dividends there. Thumbs up. Fire up north there, Humber roaming about. But there you go. Panther 4 to the rescue. And we got another Panther 4 there, though, for Jibber and the German army. Humber there is a little rowdy here by the Panther 4. Good shot. I think his Humber could finally go down here to the Panzerkampfwagen. Can Jibber finish it off here? No, the Humber is simply put too fast.
Panzer 4 is field ready.
And another artillery strike here from Havoc. Right now, Jibber's armored force is composed of 2 Panther 4s and a Wirbelwind, backed up by Jaeger squadron of the Falchion Pioneer. That is a lot of infantry. So worth noting, nothing like truly elite like the Fallschirmjägers or the Starstruppen. South here, another push forwards. Panther 4 rolling in here. Mines being laid down by Havoc. Thumbs up. Panther 4 there bounces the shot from the Matilda there. Matilda's not bounce. Panther 4 bounces. But there you go, Jaegers on the flank of the Matilda. I think it's going to have to force here. Havoc to withdraw his Matilda before it becomes scrap metal. In the center, another Spirit Assault here by the 1st Infantry. Gurkha's pushing forward here, backed up mortars, anti-tank guns. And Jibber's Jaegers are trying to get in position to fight back, but it has not been great there for Jibber's Jaegers. Up north here, Panther 4 roaming forward. We've got the Humber roaming in. Matilda's about to encounter the other Panther 4 in the south here. Panther 4 diving in against the Matilda here. We are just looking at so many engagements just all over the map now. Things are getting quite spirited here. Several hits in the 6 Panther 4 there by the 6 Panther guns. Could go down here if he's unlucky. No, doesn't. Or does he lose it? Does he? No. So close there for Jibber. The south here, though, strafing coming down here on Havoc's positions. Another strike with the Luftwaffe. Forcing the Matilda there to withdraw. 9 goes off. Jaegers in the center force to withdraw. Looks like he got the Matilda away to the close call. Close call. Guess it was a glitch that happened earlier there. Anyways, Jaegers pushing forwards here, right into the section. Mortar raining down death from above here. Back to Havoc's perspective. 181 versus 127. Jibber's really been able to just bring down Havoc in terms of victory point, but Havoc still has to lead, but is much smaller now than before. Matilda's rolling forwards. I suppose he could try and go for another one. Large 35 ring back and forth. Jaegers about to get wiped out. Down to 1 man here. Close to the ace level at that, though.
We're losing a victory point to enemy action.
Gurkha's there with their Gurkhali. In the south here, Jaegers there with machine gun support, holding the southern victory point soon within the control of Deutschland.
Victory point.
Panther 4's vehicle repairs. I suppose it could add, armored side skirts, a bit of extra side armor there to make it harder for the Matildas to actually get shots even through the side armor there. It could be an option. Probably won't do it, but he could consider it. Certainly also look fairly cool, but again, that's another story. And still, there's also the option of Starsturm or Fallschirmjäger for a bit more elite infantrymen. There's also mortars for more direct smoke screens aside from Jaegers. Plenty of things that Jibber could consider.
Starting research on a training center.
And the champ just push for the southern victory point there. Jibber halts that advance. Panther 4 moving in. Close to victory 2 on that Panzerkampfwagen. Does he have the officer quarters for that one? He does not. And another pushes through the center. Jaegers again spearheading the operation with a smoke grenade there. Thumbs up. I mean, he's been making incredibly good use of the smoke rifle grenades there. Definitely, I think something worth learning from there. Of course, for players who are using Jaegers, but generally players looking to get better with the smoke. I think there's a lot to learn here from Jibber's smoke use there. Grenade assault here forced the Germans off the point. Nice use there by Havoc. Thumbs up. Until they're basically pushing back the Panther 4 with a few good side armor shots there. Again, maybe armored side skirts could have provided protection enough there, but we will never know. Meanwhile, Jibber's Jaegers are being rather heavily mauled here with the Matilda out in the open. They want to drop a smoke screen there or withdraw. Second Panther 4 move. We actually got Starsturm riding along. 2 thumbs up. Tank riders. No, that's actually Jaeger squad, not Starsturm. For some reason I thought it was Starsturm. Probably wishful thinking for me. Still nice to see some tank riding in. The Jaegers in particular find look cool when riding along a tank. People in there actually ripping through the Gurkhas as they charge in. The Jaegers though getting pummeled out in the opening with other Matilda under Havoc's command. Fighting remains fierce, and there you go. Grenade assault MG42. Almost wiping out every single man. But there we go. Wirbelwind cuts down the... Oh, they still get the wipe. Matilda 2 pushing through here in the center. Up north here, Matilda's Panthers all fighting out here. The center is starting to become an absolute slaughter ground here between the two sides. Panther 4 narrowly avoids total destruction. Pioneers dropping dead there. Ripped apart by the ace-level Gurkhas. Falchion Pioneer about to get wiped as well. Heavy losses for Jibber's infantry now. Good God. He just lost so much there in that engagement. There you go. GG. Game over. Game over. So there you go. Some pretty fierce back and forth fighting here in the end, though. Havoc narrowly pulled through here. Part, I think, again, due to all these Matildas, which again are a hard counter. these kind of like Jaeger heavy strats here. That said, there's actually also, I think, more room for Jibber to like launch attacks for the more flanks here, going for deeper flanks against Havoc. Of course, his Jaegers may not be the best, but again, this one could then mix in some Falchion Jaegers or some Starstorm to provide him with that more offensive element, while the Jaegers can like tie down Havoc across the frontier, maybe pushed in with the tanks for the sides, and that way made an impact there. So that's definitely, I think, a bit too much time mission there from Jibber as the match for Dawn versus Havoc. Havoc, I think, was able to exploit that quite well with Matildas, were definitely, I think, quite suited for that kind of fighting there. Had things been more maneuver focused, I think the Matildas would have been much more disadvantaged. There's also the argument there again, he could have gone for this much sooner. And there's even like a thought he could have tried to go for Martyrs to help counter the Matildas more efficiently. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. If you learned something from it, if you did, subscribe, like, share, comment, tell your friends, tell your family, but not your enemies. This is Imperial saying cheers and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye everyone.